Every time you hop online, it's kind of like setting sail on this massive, unpredictable ocean. Sometimes it's smooth sailing, right? But there are always these hidden dangers lurking just below the surface. So the big question is, how do you navigate those treacherous waters and stay safe? I mean, just think about it for a second. The internet really is like a stormy sea. And if you're a user who's roaming, working from your laptop in a coffee shop or an airport, you're way out there, far from the safety of your company's network. The real trick is finding a safe harbor in the middle of that storm. So, before we get to the solution, let's really map out the territory. Let's talk about the problem. Because the modern digital world, well, it's full of some serious risks that we all face every single day. And a lot of the time, we don't even realize it. And they usually fall into these four big categories. Think of them like hidden reefs and thick fog banks out on our digital sea. First, you've got malicious content, all that nasty malware, phishing scams, and fraud. Then there are compliance risks, like accidentally clicking on a site that violates your company's policy. Of course, there are insecure networks. Public Wi-Fi is a huge one. And finally, there's the unseen traffic, the sneaky stuff from apps that can just bypass standard web protection. Okay, but what if you had a lighthouse, a constant, powerful beacon of light that just cuts right through all that fog and guides you to safety? Well, that's exactly where Symantec's solution comes into the picture. The official name for it is Web and Cloud Access Protection. And here's what it does in a nutshell. It's a feature that acts like a super smart air traffic controller for your computer. It redirects all your network traffic, everything, through Symantec's Cloud Secure Web Gateway. And it's there, in the cloud, that everything gets inspected and security policies get enforced long before any of it gets a chance to reach you. So, you see, this is so much more than just another piece of software running in the background. This is your digital lighthouse. It's an always-on watchpost, constantly scanning the horizon and guiding your connection to safety no matter where in the world you are. All right, so let's pop the hood on this thing. We're going to go inside the lighthouse for a minute and really see the tech that powers all this protection and keeps you safe. Now, what's really fascinating here is the evolution. The old way of doing this used something called a pack file, and it was okay, but it only handled web browser traffic, and it didn't encrypt it. The modern method, called the tunnel, is a whole different ballgame. It's a massive upgrade. It encrypts all of your traffic for top-notch security, it covers all your applications, not just your web browser, and it's way more stable and reliable for those of us who are always on the move, jumping between different networks. And you can see this wasn't an overnight change. This timeline really shows a clear commitment to making things better and more secure over time. The tunnel method first showed up in version 14.3 RU1, then it got even smarter in RU5, and by version 14.3 RU8, that older, less secure pack file method was gone for good. It's a clear path towards stronger, more complete protection. So what does this path to safety look like for your data? It's actually incredibly fast and seamless. Step 1, you try to go online. Step 2, instantly, without you doing a thing, your traffic gets rerouted into that secure, encrypted tunnel. Step 3, the Cloud SWG inspects everything against the latest security rules. And finally, Step 4, anything dangerous gets blocked, and only the safe stuff gets the green light to come through to your device. Simple as that. Okay, so we know how it works, but what does it actually do? How does this lighthouse technology protect you from those four big dangers we talked about earlier? Well, this is where it gets really powerful.
First off, it blocks malicious content. Think of that lighthouse beam just vaporizing threats before they even get close to your ship. By inspecting traffic before it reaches you, the cloud's WHG can just flat out deny access to sites that are known to host malware or phishing scams. The threat is stopped dead in its tracks, miles away from your computer.
Second, it acts as a gatekeeper for your company's rules. It automatically enforces those acceptable use policies. So what that means is it can block whole categories of websites, like gambling or adult content, making sure you and the company stay safe and compliant. Third, and this one is an absolute game changer for anyone who travels or works remotely, it secures those untrusted networks. That encrypted tunnel basically wraps your connection in a suit of armor, turning that sketchy public Wi-Fi at the coffee shop into your own secure private channel. Nobody else on that network can peek at your data. And finally, this fourth benefit is absolutely crucial. The tunnel method also protects apps that normal web proxies just completely miss. I'm talking about things like VoIP calling software or other tools that talk to the internet. This closes a huge security gap that, honestly, a lot of other solutions leave wide open. So, let's bring this all home. How does this all come together to give you some real peace of mind and, actual proof that you're being protected?
One of the coolest parts about this whole thing is that the protection isn't just invisible. You don't have to just hope it's working. You can actually check for yourself and verify that your lighthouse is on duty, which makes the security feel so much more real and tangible. In fact, Symantec gives you a super simple way to test it. You just browse to the website pod.threatpulse.com, and if everything's working, you'll see a clear, official confirmation message right there on your screen. It basically says, yep, you're protected by the Symantec Web Security Service. It's like getting a real-time status update that you've safely reached the harbor. And really, that's the bottom line. It doesn't matter if you're in the office, at home, or connected to Wi-Fi on the other side of the planet. Your digital watchpost is always on, always vigilant, making sure you have safe passage through the stormy seas of the internet. So, I guess that just leaves us with one final thought. In a world of constant digital storms and threats that seem to pop up out of nowhere, isn't it time to ask yourself, what's guiding your ship?